passport, ID card is seemingly difficult to obtain. It's becoming like difficult for Cameroonians to obtain their passport and ID card. Is like camel to pass through the eyes of a needle as far as that situation is concerned in Cameroon. And when we look at this, especially for those who had their ID card whose ID card has expired, those who have used the ID card for more than 10 years, it's difficult for them to obtain an ID card because they still have to go through the rigorous process. What should be done as far as this is concerned? And with the silence of political opposition parties, we mostly see our opposition parties only when elections are coming up. When elections are coming up, that's when you see them campaigning left and right. But when the issue of passport and ID card came up last, I think that was 2 weeks ago with the movement that was launched online, we saw just few political parties reacted as far as this is concerned. Could it be that they too are helpless and we are all helpless as far as that is concerned? I begin with you, Diwum Emmanuel, on this issue of passport and ID card. When we look at this issue of passport and ID card, what could be the reason, the silence of opposition parties? Because we mostly see them when it comes to elections, and we mostly see them, hey, government should give freedom of speech, government should give freedom of speech. But now we have the issue of passport and ID card. What's causing the problem? They are silent.
You know my stance so well when it comes to talking about opposition, these clowns that they call opposition parties in Cameroon. There's no opposition party in Cameroon apart from the CRM party that is trying to, like, that is motivate and make some noise around. There's no political. All these political parties are even the biggest problem that Cameroon is suffering. These political opposition parties, in quotes, these satellite CBDM parties, in quotes, they are the greatest problem that Cameroon has ever had. Why?
So finally, which problem do we have in Cameroon?
No,
you said Atanganji Minister Paul Atanganji is one of the greatest problem we have. Now you are saying that opposition parties they are the greatest problem we have. So which of these problems is
Cameroon itself is a problem if you never knew that, so know it as today.
This is land of promise, land of glory.
I think even the creation of Cameroon, God never took the time that he took to create other countries. So I am the one speaking. I am saying it that
and you take responsibility.
Cameroon itself is a problem. You cannot be in a country where no single domain is working out, and you say that we should clap. No, I'm not a hand clapper. You see, this thing of ID card and passport, to be precise, it has once more revealed to us that Cameroon is still to start learning from other countries, because when you meet a policeman on the way without an ID card, you know the sanctions that goes with it. But when you go with your own money, with the stress and the processes that you go through to get this ID card, it goes for 4 years. I have a sister that she was forced to go back and do another one. But I will tell you that this thing does not, it only affects the common man. All these ministers in Yaoundé, their children have passports and ID cards in 24 hours if they like. And I have colleagues who have used, I am saying the amount here on my media plan, 50,000 francs for their ID card to be made in 7 days, and it comes. Now, which boils back to the fact that this country can never be moved by people who cannot move. How do you explain the fact that when it concerns these big people, their ID cards comes out in 4, 5, 6 days, and when you and I struggle to go through all the processes, and you remember that during presidential election, there's an official in this country in the ruling party who went to deposit the CBDM file with a receipt. But do you know that he was not rejected? Yes. It means that it's a system that they have made it, they have normalized failure in this country. They have normalized wrongdoing. They have normalized everything that is a vice to to become a virtue. So even where we are standing now, the delegate general for national security came out and made promises, and we know we are with the regime of promises. Till now, we are still waiting to see fruits. But before I face out, I want to tell you that there are listeners and viewers of this program who says you owe them with a number that you promised them last week, still pertaining to ID card number.
A website.
A website. Anyway, those who reach out to me were talking about a number. So I just wish that at the end of the program.
Yeah, at the end of the program, I'll give the website launched by the Minister Delegate of National Security to track your ID card and passport.
Okay,
because they recently gave a WhatsApp number, but because of the situation, they had to launch now a website.
Yeah, but
which people should go there and get their ID card.
Somebody who lives in Boom, in Konene, in Saf, in Achai, and has never had the opportunity to use an electronic gadget. How will this person reach out to this website? It boils back to what I've told people, that this government is at our disservice. They are not at our service at all.
But at least it will help. They will reduce the problem by.
They will reduce to those who found themselves in the urban area.
You can call your loved ones in the city to check online, as we always do with GC. I think let's not blame the government here. I think it's a step. It's a start. If they don't do it at all, they
start in which year? Cameroon doesn't start today, man. Don't tell me it's a start. Cameroon is not starting today.
Coming back to on this same issue, Ba, how do you explain the fact that you have an ID card which has been with you for 10 years, it expired? For you to renew your ID card, you have to go through the same process like someone who've never obtained an ID card before. And secondly, how do you explain the fact that most of these ID cards take quite a difficult process for you to procure basic document, and you are from a political party, and the various opposition parties are silent, as we see in other countries where opposition parties will come and form coalition. Our coalition, maybe in Cameroon, ends only when elections are coming.
No, there's no coalition.
Well, Mr. Jarvis, this is a very pertinent topic which we need to talk about, because having an ID card in Cameroon is like a passport to heaven. It's very difficult. I, for once, I am a victim to this prejudice. I am a victim to this problem, actually, because I have used my ID card for 10 years. It had expired. I went in to make another ID card since last year. Till date, I haven't gotten any. And the recipe they gave me has it is not even visible. And the problem is, when you go to these police stations, they treat you like trash. You know, they don't feel your pain. That's the problem. The problem is not you going back for the same process. The problem is the longevity you get in having your ID card. It is really a problem, because you know, nothing in Cameroon is being done without an ID card. You cannot travel, you cannot write your concours, you cannot even write an examination, and this handicaps a lot of students who are unable to register for official exams due to ID card issues, and you know, maybe concours that have been launched. You know, it creates a whole lot of trouble. You know, I am from the CPNR political party, which is a party that has all humans, Cameroonians at heart. That is our point of focus. So we launched the I Want My ID Card initiative by our spokesperson, Anne Fegon, that really went viral on social medias. And I think that through this, so many people, so many Cameroonians have gotten their ID cards. Now, the problematic that goes around this thing is the other opposition parties, they are silent. Why? Because, you know, we saw the delegate of national security, Mbagangele, he came out and he organized a press conference saying that everything will be arranged. But till date, we still have the same problems. The issue is the Cameroon government is a kind of government that always needs to attract critics to be able to defend themselves. They always want to defend themselves. I think it was just a window dressing, because nothing has changed.
So you call a press conference by the minister window dressing? What
has happened? What has changed? He promised us that in 1-2 months we are going to have our ID cards. But till date, nothing has changed. But recently we saw a video of passports scattered around the streets of this government school we call Collège Leclerc in Yaoundé. We saw passports of noble citizens of Cameroon being shattered on the roads like that.
With the expiration date of 2025.
Sure, it means these passports were being arranged this year. These are recent passports that I think that most of these guys are waiting their passports, but yet it is littered on the road, and I heard it has been sleeping there for some days, and everybody was scared to touch. It means there is a problem. There is a problem in the continuity of this government. This government has a whole lot of problem, but I would disagree with my co-panelists that said Cameroon is a problem, because Cameroon has no problem. It is our leaders that have the problem, because Cameroon is our motherland. Cameroon has given us everything, the natural resources and everything we have. But yet, those that are governing us are not governing us in the right way. That is the problem we have in Cameroon, because you cannot tell me Cameroon is a problem, yet you're still in Cameroon. You would have gone and taken maybe the nationality of another country. It means you love this country, and you shouldn't treat a noble country like being a problem. You should tag the government and the regime being the problem, like Atanganji and the other ministers that are sleeping, who are just there to enjoy, destroy our resources, make us suffer, handicap us. And the problem is, let me learn, Mr. Jarvis.
Mr.
Sure. The problem is, it is only people like us, those that have nothing, those that have nobody to fight for us, that suffer the problem.
They have not.
We have nothing. We have nobody. We are voiceless. The only place we can come and denounce is like you give us a plateau like this to come and cry out our plight, because government officials do not have the same problem like us. They will order their ID cards, and it comes out the same day, and their passports. They have no problem.
Thank you.
It is the problem of people like us who have nobody to fight for us, Mr. Jarvis.
Thank you. Let me take some messages before coming to you, Mr. Tebek. This was a good afternoon, Jarvis, and greetings to your panel, men and Frank lady. Political parties are helpless when it comes to solving the issue in Cameroon. What has the Parliament and Senate done in identifying and solving problems in this country? The issue of identity card and passport is a long-standing problem in Cameroon. Cameroonians have learned to cope with bad governance. It's coming from an anonymous sender. And this oral read, it says this uncle is making wisdom ahead of House of Commons. This other one read, it says Ayabacho simply want to put order amongst the fighters concerning the ICC. Both sides will face the music. Alfred from Bamenda. This one reads, this other one read, it says Isa Chiruma Bakari, quoting Winston Churchill, said history has always been written by the victors. In the light of the Benida Kanga and Yabacho, we've been wise to see the failed war strategy of the secessionists and trying to write their name in the good books of history, not to be classified as terrorists. This other one reads, it says please, when you send us your message, be a kind of Republican. This one says, please, sir, with due respect, will you allow viewers to know the minds of other contributors? The solution to these our problems start right there, and from you, talk about the truth and solve the problem. This SMS reads, it says, good afternoon to you all, panelists. Ryan from Macbach. I'm very happy of the topic like this came up. I'm very happy topic like this came up since I became an adult. I've been asking, why should your nationality as Cameroonian get expired? This other one says, greetings to you in the studio. I am Tata from Chang. ID cards were said to have had problems because of lack of materials, but I must tell you that there has been a huge production of ID card. Please verify info before talking. Thanks. Hello, House of Commons. I am Ferdinand from Bamenda. I suggest that the issue of ID cards, especially the government, should extend its expiring date to after 20 years, because even after how many years, one still remain unchanged, while your passport, I think, is the same. And this one reads, it says, good afternoon to you all. Please, separatists are already on the table waiting for the government to talk. It's coming from Frank in Moyuka. The ID card and passports are now way of government to raise revenue. So why should we just wait there? Why should we be wait? I think it's not clear. When you send us an SMS, please make sure that it's clear. Good afternoon to you in the studio. Ayabacho and Co are very correct. They are out in condemning the excesses of the fighters like kidnapping, rape, torture. But the government has always supported the Cameroon army, not denouncing their excesses. It's coming from Joseph in Bamenda. God is good. Isn't it time for opposition parties to form a strong coalition and get the parliament and senate to react on this ID card issue? Because myself, I'm a victim. My ID card has expired, and to do another ID card has been kind of like a camel to pass through the eyes of the needle.
I like the question, but I will start from somewhere. I will start from the ID card and end on political parties. It is very clear in Cameroon that I would like to comment that if corruption and hypocrisy was a commodity that could be exported, I think Cameroon could have been very rich. What am I saying? We are talking an ID card. There is a ID card like other documents. There are places where when you go there to make an ID card, if you don't want to pass through somebody, we are all in Douala, we know what is called demarcher. If you don't want to pass, if you want to be the people who call Thomas, you are going to pass from 8 o'clock in the morning, maybe to around 4 o'clock in a police station trying to make an ID card, which means that there are some people who are playing, have gone through, who are playing this role of middleman monopoly, which means that if you pass through him, you will receive your ID card very fast. And those who want to be Thomas, like we used to say in the quarter, you will stand there until you begin to feel your pains on your legs. So that's one thing that has eaten into our bone. It goes right to the passport. The passport means that if some people apply for passport and cannot get the passport for quite a long time, it is because those people who are in charge of the passport spend their time trying to satisfy those who have given money. And then you who does not want to give money, since you are very stingy, you will wait until the day I will be free and there will be no passport in front of me. Then I have to go and search for your own to send to you. That's just the comment I wanted to make. Then on the political parties.
Yes, is it not time for the political parties to come together and form a strong coalition and pressure the Senate and the Parliament to take concrete action to solve this ID card and passport wahala? Because this is the #1 document of a citizen, but difficult to have.
For the political parties, I will start from somewhere before coming to coalition. I've always blame the political parties, and also sometimes I see reason in them. I want to give a brief information on political parties. In Cameroon, I cannot say that there is no opposition party in Cameroon. We have opposition parties in Cameroon that they still remain very strong. I can quote two. There are opposition parties in Cameroon that have created history. I think a party that fought for independence in the country is the UPC. A party like SDF that fought for democracy. If they are not winning councils today, it's not that they have not won. And then I started seeing again new parties coming up this time around. And I appreciated the candidate that came up during the last presidential election. I saw candidates that I admire them. Let me tell you something concerning political parties. Political parties in Cameroon is this way. Fighting the ruling party in Cameroon is like, have you ever seen when the lions are trying to kill an elephant? Sometimes you even climb on him, he carries you and begin to go away. The ruling party in Cameroon, to face the ruling party in Cameroon is something, it is not easy that way. But I want to look the political parties this way. When you see political parties, sometimes they blame them that they are waiting for a presidential election, Jarvis. It is what we call in French, relanti. You know, in a football match, when you are an attacker, if you attack this way, attack several times trying to score, and you are not able to score, there is a period that you fall back into your zone, and you begin to observe, because that your opener is not an easy one. I'm talking about the ruling party. It's not easy. You have to fall back. So political parties sometimes they fall back and begin to observe another way, another strategies that they can use to come up. Now coming to a coalition, really, when we see what has been going on in Cameroon through elections, most of these legislative election and presidential election, I don't really see any coalition that will come together and through normal election, and we are not very sure that they can change things with the regime, because this our ruling party, it's functioning in a type of way that it is like these telephone companies we can call this that give network, like Orange and the MTN and the rest, without making publicity. Do you know that if you are dealing with MTN and you don't have the ID the SIM card of Orange, you don't have anything to do mostly with information concerning them. So in Cameroon, politics is the type of way that if you are not affiliated to the ruling party, your ideas are very far from consideration. You will speak political parties that have been condemning, they have done everything, but I don't see they are coming together that will change something. But we are not discouraging them. We know that in politics we don't surrender, because sometimes when the time that you are trying to surrender, that is instead the time victory will come your way. We are still calling on political parties. I know that they have not started reacting. They are still coming to react. They should try to understand themselves. I know that.
How long will it take for them to react?
It's really, you have to know that politics like that, political parties have different political ideologies. You know, coming together is like harmonizing ideas. Harmonizing means that some of your ideas you have to drop them and take take the other one. So that's why it doesn't come in making a coalition. It's not just something you just come together like we are sitting on a panel, yes, to form a coalition. But it should be, we encourage that such things should take place, because if it does, one party cannot win the ruling party, because we don't see the ruling party solving these problems we are talking about. Yes.
I'm just coming in directly because, you see, when you observe the political scene in Cameroon, except otherwise you are not honest. You cannot tell me. I maintain that there is no opposition party in Cameroon as such, because opposition parties are parties that 24 on 24 they work. 24 on 24 they present their agenda.
So we have seen this, the CPP of Kawala, the MRC, the PCRM, the SDF. We have seen the UPC. We have seen members of opposition party in prison just for challenging a status quo. And you say that we have opposition party in Cameroon. What they were doing was, were they doing a birthday ceremony?
Okay.
Before which landed in prison?
I also like to remind you that the best coalition that these opposition parties could ever have in Cameroon was a complete boycott of every election, so that only CPDM alone stands out for it. But since they are not into politics and they are into politics, they are rushing after crumbs.
But we are witnessing the effect of boycott, like in 1996. Well, I think in the 1992, but which is because of the 1992 boycott that we are experiencing the decentralization of 1996, when SDF, which was the major opposition party, boycotted the election in which they should have, they were supposed to have majority at the parliament, probably to challenge the effective decentralization.
Tamai Jarvis. 1996, 2021 are two different eras.
Okay.
Mentalities have changed, political methodologies have changed, and even the metamorphosis of parties have changed. Boycott today is the only coalition to this closed system of government that we have in the name of CPDM. If every party, but it is difficult, Tama Jarvis, because the ruling party, the party in place, has already discovered that the highest way to succeed is to push Cameroonians into abject poverty and extreme hunger. When they push Cameroonians to abject poverty and extreme hunger, and then throw a bone to political parties, each party comes with the hope that, look, before this presidential election goes over, I would have had in my account this amount. I will open my quincailleries, I will open my stores. Even if my party doesn't win, I would have won.
Okay.
So all these parties, why I say they are not opposition, they are not thinking of Cameroonians. They are thinking of themselves and their families. So there is no common joint that brings them together.
Okay.
That is why I say opposition parties in Cameroon are still to be born.
Greetings to everyone in the studio. The issue of ID card here in Cameroon is complicated, and the government should extend the expiring date of ID cards. This one reads, it says, hello, good afternoon. I don't know why you people are taking your time to say what you know can never be changed. We love our country and we should keep praying for change of government, and not by saying something that we know it will be impossible to change. It's coming from an anonymous sender. We are slowly but surely coming to an end of today's edition of the program. This one is good afternoon to you in the studio. I see no reason why ID card should expire, because to me that's a document that identifies an individual, and I can as well as sideline it to birth certificate. I feel a lot. I can always sideline it to birth certificate. I feel a lot needs to be done, since acquiring it is difficult. It's coming from Katrine in Kumba. Good afternoon, Mr. Coordinator. Good afternoon, Mr. Coordinator. We love Cameroon, and God did not make a mistake to make sure we own this part of the world. Our problem is those who are leading us. If a family head or minister is living in lies, what will the future of the nation be? Good afternoon in the studio. Please, I want to ask why Cameroon is so corrupt that people make their ID card for them to give instead ask for money to be paid. This is coming from an anonymous sender. We are out of time, gentlemen and lady. Your last word before we part company bar.
Sender that said we had a huge supply of ID cards. I want to tell the sender that this huge supply of ID cards were ID cards that were being produced long before now, because if you look at the expiring dates of those ID cards, the dates are closed. It means they were produced since, and some received even 3 years after. So there is no huge supply. If we talk of huge supply, we should talk of recent ID cards that have been produced. And also tell that the problem we have with this government is a problem of bureaucracy. There is so much bureaucracy and laissez-faire, and the problem of corruption.
Time is
That's the truth. And I don't know the difference between the biometric ID cards and the normal ones. I think there is no problem, because there is no need given these ID cards being made by a country out of Cameroon, a European country. It's a wastage of money and a sign of corruption for them to embezzle our funds. So my last word to this panel is that I recall upon the government to change their mentality, that they should have Cameroonians at heart, and that they should stop sending Atanganji to provoke Cameroonians at this very delicate situation we have in Cameroon this moment. Thank you.
Are you really asking that a minister should be fired?
I did not say he should be fired. I said he should lie low for now. He should let the problems of Cameroon. They should instead give communication department, because I think he goes vocal all the time. They should reduce the way he goes vocal, because he's provoking a lot of Cameroonians rather than arranging the situation we have. Thank you.
Your last word.
Well, we are hoping for a better Cameroon, and we are telling our government officials who have been failing very badly that please, it is not too late. Calm down. Beg for forgiveness. Cameroonians will forgive you people, and then you people will leave the chairs. We will continue from where you people failed off.
Yeah, that's
I would propose that somebody said there that the ID card should be like certificate. We could have made, I don't know whether maybe the government is using it as also a source of income. ID card could have been like certificate.
It's a source of income
forever, except it is missing before we make another one. I also like our government and our officials to understand that you should think about what people will remember you for by the time you are out of power, and don't think for your own personal interest. I think somebody will make the best victory in life is the number of people you make them to smile. That's what they should be thinking about.
Tendong Julius from Bamenda, greetings to you on board. The victim of ID card issue. I renewed my ID card in 2016. Just six later, they were switched. 6 6 weeks later they were switched to new system. I had to go through a new procedure to do another ID card. Thank you very much all those of you who took our time to participate on today's edition of our program House of Commons. Come to every Sunday live at exactly 12 to 1:30 p.m. and it is rebroadcast at 10:30 on Sunday and rebroadcast on Monday at exactly 10 p.m. on Monday. We'll have a rebroadcast of this same program, and you can go to our Twitter handle, My Media Prime, Twitter handle My Media Prime, or you go to the Facebook page, My Media Prime Facebook page, to get more about our program. To those of you who may want to get news about our programs, you may go to www.btmediagroup.net. You can get to our YouTube channel equally, which is BT Media Group, our YouTube channel for all of our programs. You subscribe to our YouTube channel, BT Media Group on YouTube, where you subscribe, all the notifications will be brought to you. And why not visit us at Fengo Jombange? I leave you with this: no matter the matter, what matter is your matter. No matter the matter, what matter is your matter. And what should matter for you this day is that you should know that God is God and God remains God. Know and ask yourself, what legacy shall you keep for your children? Because heaven and earth shall pass away, your legacy will still remain as God's word will still remain. My name is Samai Jarvis from Cameroon's economic capital, Douala. Bye bye and au revoir.